All right, good evening. We're at the Pleasantville Village work session for tonight, June 12th. Peter Scher, our mayor, is away on holiday. He's benefiting from the beginning of the summer, and so I'm taking his place tonight. So we are going to begin with a discussion of a block party. Or it's not a block party, the block party, sorry, with a capital B and a capital T. So we're going to talk about the plans for the 2023 version. Paul,
right.
Do you want to take that over?
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much for the time. So just to remind anyone, just kind of who maybe is new to this or wasn't sure what the block party is. So about 2 years ago, after the pandemic happened, I've always been a part of the Chamber of Commerce, and I wanted to do something where we close Wheeler Avenue. So in the time of the pandemic, we started closing Wheeler Avenue just to see if we can get more people out and eating outside, and restaurants could have the ability to put seats outside. So we did that a few times. And then we ended that year with a specific, we call it at that time, it was the Oktoberfest. So we closed Wheeler, and a lot of people came out, and it was just a gathering. So last year we decided to do the block party. The reason why we changed it to the block party was because we wanted it to be more family friendly oriented. And we wanted to be able to expand more and allow more people to come, because usually when you think of an Oktoberfest, you think more of an adult event. So we changed it to the block party because we just, it's very common that we're always getting requests of blocks that close down to have, their own gatherings. So we did that. We closed both Wheeler Avenue and Washington Avenue. On Washington Avenue, we primarily had car show. I think that it might have been the first car show we ever had in Pleasantville. I'm not sure if, the records have, but I've never heard. Since I've been living in Pleasantville the last 30 years, we've never had one. So to me, we wanted to do something different. Linda Natali was the person working with Lucio's to do that part of this event, because Paulie, Lucio's son, they have cars that participate in car shows, and they know a lot of people, and there's a big following of these car shows. There's a bunch that are local. So it was, once they essentially put it out there, we got a lot of interest. And even though last year we had to pull it out a rain date, we still had, I think, over 40 cars that still showed up, even with the possibility there was going to be rain. And considering a lot of these cars are antiques, that was a big showing. So if good weather comes, we can expect a lot of cars to come. So we want to keep for this year that aspect again of having Washington Avenue. I'm the liaison to the fire department. So I want to work with the fire department to really help us anchor that side of the road as well, because the date of this event is going to be in September 23rd. It's a Saturday. And then the rain date will be September 30th. Now, last year, the rain date was the following day, but we realized that with the way the weather sometimes work, it follows. So having a one-day rain date didn't really change much, and it really affected us, affected a lot of vendors pulled out. So we spoke to a lot of our vendors, and essentially everyone decided it would be best to have a week, rain date, so that they can plan accordingly and we can make that call earlier. So that's the dates. Going back to Washington Avenue, we still have the same kind of setup where we'd have the cars parked. The timing, I guess, would be important to know now. So with Washington Avenue, we are looking to close Washington Avenue. Just give me 1 second. Last year, we started the car show at 2 p.m. So we need about 2 hours to close the road. So we started doing it at 12. So we're looking to do something like that, but more likely it'll be a 5-hour thing. So really we're looking at the start of the event to be at 1 o'clock and end at 6 o'clock. So yeah,
Last time I remember it was the same weekend as homecoming. Did you check with the school calendar?
Yes, and we know that this time it's not the same weekend.
Because I just looked, it's not up yet.
Exactly, yeah, we found out through our intel that we have with the schools that they have a date, but it hasn't been announced, and it's a Friday, and I believe it's in October.
October, it usually.
Yeah. So that's also why we moved it up. Last year we had it in the beginning of October, and this year we moved it up to the 23rd, so it doesn't conflict with homecoming weekend at all. So the event would start at 1 o'clock, which would mean that Washington Avenue would need to start getting closed at essentially 11 a.m.
Mhm.
And it would go till 6 p.m. And then that's usually all the cars leave when it's that time to end and it starts to get dark. So that's how we had it last year, and I think it worked out well.
So it'd be closed till about 6:30 PM or however long it takes. To
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty quick last year when we saw it, when about 15 minutes. I mean, once the car started
Okay.
pulling out, that was it. Because it's mostly cars on that side and just a few vendors. So there's not.
And the restaurants are okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, last time that we had this event, it only brought more people there.
Mhm.
So, and it's really just, there's only one restaurant there. It's just Vela. That's on Washington, really. And then Lucho's is participating in it. We've spoken to Crown that's up the street, and they want to do kind of an event like just kind of like they have their own things that they have specials. So all of those vendors there they're looking forward to having more people and more foot traffic.
Mhm.
The difference from last year is that there we had on Washington Avenue a DJ and then the cars. This
Mhm.
year, we're also going to have a kids themed event on that side as well. So
Not up on Wheeler.
we're still doing the Wheeler. So I'm going to tell the Wheeler plan, it kind of goes a little bit later. So we'll start off with, some kid stuff that will start there right away at 1. So now when we move over to Wheeler, we're looking more to do a 3 to 8 p.m. That is because of the fact that going back, since we need 2 hours, we know that there's a lot more businesses on Wheeler that depend on cars coming through for pickup, for lunch, and all of that. So if we start closing at 1, it will definitely help. Then if we started at, closing at 11, that would affect a lot of the businesses, all the delis, all the different restaurants that are there. So that's the reason why we're proposing that we would start the closing at 1 p.m. to start the event at 3. And the reason why it would go later is because when we did the Wheeler side, that's also with the Holy Innocents parking lot comes into play as well. And that's where we're looking to have any food vendors that are not in the area, anyone from the Old Village, any of the restaurants that, are down by Marble Avenue or even on Bedford, like Freddy's, Marble, Raconteur, Foley's, anyone that would want to bring their food, we can have that as that parking lot that has food. And that's also where Soul would have an area to also sell alcohol. That was our beer garden that we had, which is that one spot. And it was all contained. We had security at every entrance of that area to ID people coming in. Kids were still allowed to come in, but you have to have an adult because it was still a food area. So that would be that part. And we would have some kind of kid area still, as we had last year, right in front of La Barberia, because that's the most flattest area. And that would start later, so that if some people, let's say there was a younger crowd that wanted to start earlier with younger kids, they could start at 1 in Washington Avenue. But if there was a little bit older crowd that wanted to go with older kids, they could go to the Wheeler Avenue. So that's how we're kind of doing the organizing of the different events for kids. It's geared to a little older kids, more middle schoolers on Wheeler Avenue, and more toddlers and younger age school kids on Washington Avenue.
Okay.
And parents can kind of choose and go where they want to go. And we have that flexibility. You can go to both, but it just kind of gives you, if you just want to keep your kids with smaller kids, then you would just start in Washington Avenue.
What about the farmers market? Because those are both Saturdays. Have you communicated with them about how to coordinate?
Yeah, I mean, so normally because of the fact that we start later, we haven't had any issues with them. I'll communicate with them again, but last year we had it planned for Saturday, and they were saying it didn't really interrupt their activities because they're kind of packing up towards the
Breaking
end of one. So
Okay.
if anything, I think that they were kind of excited that maybe some more people would come earlier, do
Mhm.
that, and then go to these events. So
Mhm.
I don't think it will, that they didn't really have an issue last time when we did this last year.
Okay, that sounds
Um,
good.
so that's the main, kind of plan that we have. This year, because there's just a lot more that I think is trying to plan it, trying to make it better. We're gonna include more sponsorships because there have already been businesses and other organizations that want to sponsor. We are going to need more help, so we're gonna be creating a volunteer group, a committee essentially for the block party. And that'll be open to any residents that want to partake and want to, help in any kind of way.
Mhm.
We want to be able to have all different types of vendors. We're also, for the first time, we're going to allow people to apply, even if you're not a chamber member. They're just going to have to pay more of a fee.
Mhm.
So we're encouraging them to become chamber members, so they pay less. So that kind of helps us. And then that'll also help, offset some of the costs that we're trying to do with, for example, all the stuff that we did for the kids. Those were all sponsored by most of the sponsorships that we gave out. So
Mhm.
the last thing that I'm kind of floating the idea out there is perhaps this is still just kind of in the planning phase, so this might not be something that happens, is there have been some sponsors that want to sponsor a lot more. So I was thinking something to make unique for them. Tarrytown does a trolley that kind of drives around and drops people off. So
Mhm.
looking into just the cost of what that would be, and essentially if there is a sponsor that's willing to sponsor the trolley, that's something that we're looking into, just to alleviate more people from not just the village, but more, if you think about like Locust and all that area up there, you can't really walk easily into town, especially in that time. So if let's say we had someone that can pick them up and drop them back off in those neighborhoods, or you push towards, like the Pleasantville Pool, things like that is a lot farther out, or even closer towards Foxwood up that way. So this could alleviate all those people who are wanting to drive in, and then that'll, help us with parking and just less cars out there on the road. So just looking into it, because I think, other villages have done events like this and they do them often. I've been talking to some of the heads of our departments just to get their overall view on that, and they've said that they've seen it. They've seen how it's been done in others. So again, that's just an idea. That would be something different, but we would be making sure that we're trying to have sponsors cover that, so it's not more of a cost to the village itself. Because I know that obviously the village puts in a lot with the police and DPW, and I know obviously on an administrative side, Alyssa helped us out a lot with the insurance. So I am looking into that as well as the last part of this, because using Tarrytown as another example, Tarrytown Fair just happened about 2 weeks ago. For members to sign up, they went straight to their website and they had an option of insurance that was up to par that they could essentially buy through. I think it was a policy available. So I'm trying to find out how that was done to see if it kind of streamlines it a bit easier, because we were having issues with everyone had their own insurance policies, and Alyssa was checking to see if it fit what we needed, and that made it a bit difficult. Some people might have pulled out because of that, but I think we could have attracted more smaller businesses.
How do we handle that for Pleasantville Day? I remember that coming up. Do we coordinate insurance for Pleasantville Day?
Yes.
So could we use a similar model then?
For Pleasantville Day, and what we use for the block party is all one sample certificate that we send to people. It's all the same limits, everything
Okay,
matches.
all right.
So I think, and last year I think was, because the first year that we did it, it was so new, we weren't really sure what was going on when we did the Oktoberfest. Well, the block party was just the first year we had it last year. So I think a lot of the vendors now know that are coming back. So it'd be more for the new vendors. So those are things that I'm looking into. So that's, what we have in place. It'll come quick because it's already June. So that's the game plan that we have. And hopefully I can have the support of the board and the village and trying to carry that through. Once we get closer, I was having meetings with all the heads of departments and also Eric and the mayor. We were meeting weekly just to kind of get an update on all of this. And, it's a big it's a big event and to plan it, it takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of work. And, you know, part of me makes me think like this is a lot to do but at the end of the day, when I see, you know, how it connects all generations, you know, I've seen my great grandfather and I have my daughter. So, you know, they're all there in the same place and they're all just kind of hang out. And I've seen that happen for so many people that they have their families come out, they come back. It's a nice day out. Family members that don't live here anymore come back. And it's, again, another event to show. And I think to all of our new residents are going to be coming in, it's just such a nice thing to do. And a huge part of it is the village is doing it. You know, people who have lived in cities or things like that, block parties happen all the time. And then there's just such a fun event that if we can bring that and just have a community event, I think that's what makes it worth it at the end. I mean, it's easier to just say, let's just not do anything. But this is also a way to help also our businesses who they're the ones that, you know, whenever you need any kind of fundraiser, you go and they will always donate. I mean, I think our vendors and our restaurants are, you know, all our different members of the Chamber of Commerce, most of them are very generous. So I think that this is a way to give back as well. Yeah.
So the other thing I found, and maybe it was also because it was a rainy day, but you know, that back parking lot, it was like not very crowded. It was
Yes.
kind of like really isolated.
Yeah. So the big problem with that,
You
Well,
went back there.
it was-
like, I wanna be
trust
with other
me,
people.
it was the weather really affected us badly. I remember, I think it was about maybe like 48 or so, or 50, so it was cold. No one wanted to be back there. The vendors that were supposed to do food, we had 6 vendors, and I think we ended up with only 2 that showed up. And then no one was really in the mood for having a beer outside.
And the band was back.
The
there,
band
like,
was
no
kind
one's
of, exactly.
listening.
The band, then we had to move the band inside to Seoul to get more people to go. So that's also why we moved the event back 2 weeks in September, hoping it'd be warmer and we wouldn't have as much trouble with the weather. Yeah, because the year before, when it was nice out and we had the Oktoberfest, so many people, yeah. And it was, so I think that was a big difference.
I think Paul moving the rain date a week later is really wise too, because it is so weather dependent. I was at Open Streets Tarrytown on I guess Friday night or Saturday night when they closed their block, and it was, you know, 70 degrees and sunny, and every seat was full and everybody was out. But yeah, it could have been 48. There's no way I would have been there. So,
Right.
so I think that's a great call, and it sounds like you're in really good shape to improve on what was already a good event.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you to the support. Obviously, all the different heads of departments and the village administrators are well that without them, we couldn't do it. So
This kind of extra work from you, from the Chamber of Commerce, from the village, Melissa, from Eric, from all the other people who helped, it's the thing that makes the village special. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm also, Paul and I are also going to be working with retail downtown because, you know, some particularly the stores that feel like they're a little bit to the edge of where the activity is happening right now, like Washington Avenue is a little bit less dynamic at the moment. They're having some concern. So I think something like this is very helpful and can, you know, maybe provide a blueprint for other ways in which we can help them on a more regular basis as well.
yep, absolutely.
All right, so should we, do any more questions or, yeah,
Questions?
yes,
Of course.
please.
Nothing said.
Washington Avenue goes from Manville to Edgewood again.
Yeah,
Okay, and then Wheeler Avenue, are we gonna close it from Manville to Bedford, or did I forget?
yeah, Manville to Bedford.
To
We did,
Bedford. Okay,
yeah.
got it. All right.
Those are good ones. Those were,
Yeah.
those are good.
That's it, no more logistical questions?
For now, well, we got.
I'll wait for Peter to give,
too, right?
yeah, I'll wait for Peter to give me his question.
Oh,
Well, I
exactly.
was thinking when we have the civic space, we might want to
Yeah.
Yeah,
hit
well, that's.
the whole block party over there,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, that would be the ideal
I think
situation.
maybe the net following.
Yeah, that would be the ideal situation.
Yeah. Okay, so the next item on our agenda is a discussion of the proposed green purchasing program, which is something that I propose that we look into. So do you want me to describe it? Do you want to describe it, Eric? You've been looking into it.
Yeah, so essentially what it is the state of New York, through their agencies, have developed a list of green friendly standards. So when they go out and procure goods or services, there are certain thresholds that the materials or the vendors need to provide that are environmentally friendly. They've now offered this program, it's a voluntary program, to local municipalities and school districts. And essentially the process is we would amend our procurement policy to, and they have template verbiage to make essentially our best effort to comply with these written purchasing guidelines that the state has already implemented. And then once we do that would be an action of the village board by resolution. We would then fill out an application and apply for the state to become a green purchasing community. With that, we would get recognition through the state press release, and then we would also get points for our climate smart initiatives, which lead to additional grant funding.
That's right.
I would say on the more challenging side, and there's only 2 other villages that the state lists that have become green purchasing communities. It's the village of Hastings and the village of Croton-on-Hudson, and they're rather new. So I've reached out to say, hey, how's it going? Is it complicating your procurement process? And for right now, the feedback is it's very early, but so far so good. And really, the concern probably from the administrative end would be just the time it would take to kind of cross-reference everything that we purchase. There's okay, does this meet the thresholds? They recommend building this into, if we had projects, public works projects that are over a certain threshold, we would write that into the bid specifications. So they would have to go and buy those goods or materials that are environmentally friendly. And that obviously inflates the cost of projects or goods and materials. There is a caveat that it says we would make a reasonable effort.
Right, and it's, yes, so the idea is that there's language in there about sort of reasonable cost too, relative to what the regular cost would be. And that's based into the New York code.
I was watching this recorded webinar, and one of the questions was, what's defined as reasonable?
Right.
And there's nothing but what the state Office of General Services said is we typically will take that to mean about 10%.
Yeah.
10% swing, which, it's could be significant. But again, it's not anything that we're legally tied to.
You're not locked in. So it's, part of the advantage is that the state has done the heavy lifting. So they have a committee that pulls in resources from different state agencies where they vet all of the products and the services, using different criteria, and they're also factoring cost into the equation. So they're aware that that's a consideration. And my understanding is that the state agencies are currently following this program as well. So it's not like nobody is doing this. The state has already been doing it for a while.
Just sounds interesting, but just so I understand, that this goes from like this cup all the way up to a dump truck.
So I can
everything that we procure.
I can share the specifications page.
That's a lot of oversight.
Let me try and
The research that the state has done on this.
here's this.
is rather impressive.
So can you see that?
Oh, sorry. I was saving my computer battery for later. I will look at David's.
So, there are all kinds of different categories. So I'll just click on one randomly. So this is room air conditioners.
Yeah.
It's very detailed.
You can still buy an air conditioner.
You can still buy an air conditioner. Yeah. It doesn't block you from purchasing anything that you would normally purchase, nor are you necessarily locked into buying.
Well, that wasn't
specified.
obvious to me because I was thinking like these are not compostable, right? They're recyclable.
Right.
That's why I didn't know how far. I don't want to say extreme. I just wanted to know how
committed are you?
How committed they were to
Yeah.
that.
So Right, so the language that we would put into our purchasing, what's it called, our
Purchasing policy.
purchasing
procurement
policy, thank you, would indicate, and I think there's some wiggle room as to exactly how you word it, right?
Yeah.
But you're basically, so you don't necessarily have to follow the exact guidelines that they give you,
Mhm.
but you're basically saying, we're gonna do the best that we can to purchase the approved specified materials when we can and when it is economically reasonable for us to do so.
Yeah.
So obviously, if it's a lot more expensive or if it's
There's not really a good reason not to do this.
well, obviously you're preaching to the converted, but
But I'm just saying, it doesn't tie you into anything, and it gets all of your employees to look at
Right.
what could actually help.
well, I will say, so
Right.
New York State is the first state that's done this. I often I sort of swell with pride for New York State when I see some of the amazing things that they have done when it comes to environmental issues. And part of why I think it's so great is that the state in so many ways has really led the way and made it easier for municipalities to make these kinds of moves, because this is the kind of things that municipalities have tried to do independently, but you can imagine how difficult it would be
Right.
for a village of our size to try and take on this kind of work.
Eric,
Um,
Well, it's like
So-
having the zero waste music fest and the zero waste farmers market,
Right,
but having trying to do that across everything that we do.
right. And
instead of
so,
just for
yeah,
occasional events.
so, yeah, so we, so the idea, and I find it also reassuring that the state is already doing this
Yeah.
themselves. And so we would be following their example, we wouldn't, we would be one of the earlier municipalities, but this program has existed for a few years now. So, so it definitely seems appealing to me. As Eric said, it would earn us points towards our Climate Smart Action recertification, which is something that I'm working on. I'm working on a climate action plan, which also earns us points. So there are these two tracks that we participate in. One is called the Climate Smart Program, and the other is the Clean Energy Communities Program. Both of those make us eligible for grants. So far we've been getting grants through the Clean Energies Program. The Climate Smart Program actually has larger grants. So if we, aside from the fact that it would mean that we are demonstrating that we are shrinking our carbon footprint, it also is this sort of virtuous circle thing where then we would become eligible for more significant grants that would allow us to do, take on bigger projects.
Yeah.
So
good job.
that's the pitch.
So we, like you said, David, there's no reason not to do it. I just want to be clear that we're not going to get blocked from anything that we would need. If the village decides we need a new gas generator for emergency backup power for something.
Right.
67 Mustang.
We can, and there's no green alternative for whatever our need is.
Right.
We can do that and not lose our green.
I don't think there's anything legally binding about it. I mean, Eric, you've probably asked this question to Hastings and
it says the resolution would say the municipality shall follow the Green New York procurement specification to the maximum extent practicable. And where cost is reasonably competitive as defined in general municipal law.
Okay.
so there's some caveats there that give us wiggle room.
So certainly, there would, I presume, be some learning curve,
Yeah.
getting departments used to, okay, before we buy toilet paper, let's see what's out there. But there are smaller municipalities that have gone down this route, although new, so take it on.
Any thoughts, Paul?
I think sounds really good from what you're telling me, and I had the same kind of concern that has been voiced here in general, but I think it's definitely something worth exploring. And I think the thing what I really like is the fact that we can get more grants. I think that's been a huge help, and it's encouraged more people and coming with more. If we can give more incentives to people to do this, I think it puts us in a really good place.
Yeah. I will say that I've noticed lately that the landscape equipment program is really being appreciated by people.
Mhm.
I personally met Tom Rooney over the weekend and he turned in his gas powered weed whacker.
Wow.
To take advantage of the
That's
rebate
big.
program,
It
so
was not from his cold dead
it was
fingers,
great.
no?
No, he was happy to do it. He was very pleased and, so.
And I don't have to use my decibel meter on my phone much anymore.
There you go.
Mm,
I do that.
So I did-
The electric blower next door was quieter today than a gas blower 6 properties away.
Wow.
Really?
Yesterday.
Wow,
Wow.
It's
interesting.
wild.
That is really
On my
interesting, yeah.
little phone app.
Yeah, yeah.
Measures.
Well, I will recommend, so, we're talking about, Emily, the new law, right? So, we have these postcards that are printed English one side, Spanish the other. I recommend picking a few of those up from Alyssa's office if you don't have some, in case you see landscapers or individuals using gas powered leaf blowers, because it's a nice non-confrontational way of letting people know about the new
I saw
law.
somebody the other day and I was like, ooh, what do you do?
Yeah.
I think it's really nice because, you can just, some people don't know, right? And I think it's best to assume that they don't know. And so, you just let them know, this is our new policy. Here's a card and it has a QR code on it where they can look up all the details about the law. So I think it's a nice way of handling it.
One of my interactions in my broken Spanish went across as best I could, and the person who was managing the crew was like, "Oh yeah, fine." He responded in English and said, "That's happening a lot of places, and we have electric on the truck."
Hmm.
So they just switched.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
Yeah,
That's really
they
interesting.
just didn't know.
Oh, okay.
So
That's good to know. All right.
yeah, a lot of it is just getting the
You
word
could
out.
have been
Yeah.
using it for years now.
I think they were coming up from southern Westchester, where a number of these other laws.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Yeah, it's interesting. Different companies have different experiences in that way.
Yeah.
All right, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing well.
Right on time.
Excellent. All right, I need to go back to, okay, so should I stop screen sharing? Pause share. Let me go back to,
So that that procurement is not on for tonight. It's not a resolution for tonight.
No.
The thing we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oops.
I didn't see it on there.
What? Am I not? There it is. Okay. Okay, so, final agenda item, discussion regarding the proposed plantings at the north end of Memorial Plaza.
Yeah, and then I have two other minor items to chat about if you have.
Sure.
So, the Northern Median, circulated the planting plan. Not all the photos could upload, so I circulated those to the board. The big item that I wanted just to get in front of the board is, the cost. So what we're gonna do is, irrigate the median, so, when the civic space comes online, we can actually just move that irrigation or extend that irrigation into the civic space. But at the beginning, what we can do with our watering is just drive up, hook up the watering, drop to the irrigation system and water it that way. And then eventually we get incorporated into a bigger system. But between the plantings and the irrigation system, we're probably looking at about $12,000, which we do have in the budget. We'll have to use some money from contingency to fund. We paid out of the beautification committee budget line and then backfill. But just wanted to make the board aware. There may be some changes to the planting plan, but in general, we got the planting scheme from our landscape architect that's designing both the in terms of civic space.
I looked at all the pictures, they were all plants.
Really, David?
That's much as I know.
So maybe, there may be some gravel walkway put into the island to get people from those parking spaces into the plaza, which may cut back on some of the planting, but in general, we're looking at a budget of about $12,000.
Here, I can share, should I share the screen so people can see the design? Okay,
Where's, I don't understand how what's the water source eventually? Like, what, I mean, once so the truck for now,
Yes, and then we'll have a water tap.
There's an underground irrigation system, but it's not connected to the water, but
Correct, we'll have a
village.
water tap out there.
So now they can.
what is the
Plug
current
your truck
irrigation
into it.
system irrigating?
There is no, which current.
That's what I mean, there is no current.
Yeah.
There is no,
Yeah.
exactly, there's no
Okay.
irrigation. system.
Okay,
We have it down here, in this
Yeah.
area, on the south end of the plaza, but.
but we have a water source under the road already, or there
We
we
have
lay
a,
one?
we have a water source that we can extend that we run off with down. This is right now, and then what we'll do is.
Oh, that's what's showing up?
Yeah.
Okay, let me stop it.
Yeah.
Stop share. Yeah, okay,
Okay,
there,
But,
the more you know.
there we go.
yeah,
I know we have electrical conduits under there, I didn't know we had
Yes.
water,
yeah, well, the water runs on the, through the grass.
yeah,
Through the grass area.
okay.
Okay,
So, under those memorials, is that where,
In front.
in front of it, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's.
yeah, no, I think that the design looks great.
Yep.
And-
Excited to see. It's gonna look so nice.
I know,
It's like awesome.
so many things, coming to fruition.
So just want to get that on the radar, so we talk budget,
By the way, do we know when the walkthrough to Cooley Street is opening?
we're not sure, we keep,
It looks ready.
I know. we're
Yeah,
waiting,
I'm getting
and,
impatient.
Waiting for them to do their repaving, which they pushed to this week, but, we'll see, when it happens, but it's getting there. So
I noticed that there were some tables and chairs on the gazebo during the farmer's market. Is that the village that did that or is it the farmer's
That's
market?
the farmer's market.
Okay, we should do that. Like, we should have that be a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah.
Like setting it up for the weekend kind of thing, or like,
Yeah,
or
maybe the-
permanently.
Just, there should be stuff out there anytime it's
It
nice.
just, all of a sudden, the gazebo, is functional.
People would be out there,
Yeah.
they'd be playing chess and talking and knitting.
It's also our bus stop, so
Yeah.
it's nice to have a seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
People, having have a coffee, go across the street.
I think, obviously, it requires a little bit of thought and looking into, but I think it would be a great idea. What do you think, Emily? No, you're skeptical.
Emily will be like the speed chess swindler up there, taking all the kids for $2 a game.
So, one thing, Eric, about pedestrian safety,
Yeah,
we're all impatient, just aesthetically, for
Mhm.
this all to get done, but for pedestrian safety, it's more important than
for sure.
aesthetics, and it is starting to drive me personally nuts that we're heading towards a pedestrian safety goal, but in the interim, it's less safe
yeah,
than it was before,
Mhm.
both at the gazebo spot and on Manville. Because the new crosswalks aren't striped yet.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I know they're kind of keep saying they're gonna do temporary striping and then they're gonna do this, but
Yeah.
that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
people are very confused.
How long are we gonna wait on
It's just
those
like
things?
so much waiting.
Would it
So
be
they're-
worth considering some kind of signage or something?
So
for
they're in now,
They're in now.
The new ones are in. They
Okay.
need to be,
The new crosswalks?
The new, pet heads, the. pedestrian
Oh, okay,
signals.
okay.
So essentially, those need to be in before we can restripe. So they were
Okay.
originally supposed to be delivered in August. And we peppered them with pedestrian safety issues, so they
Yeah.
were able to find a few to put out there.
Oh,
So what
that's
happened, Verdi is the contractor that does that. They said within the next week and a half, they'll have those connected
good.
and powered. And then at that point, we can restripe the temporary restriping,
right.
but at least get the new crosswalks engaged. But yeah, it's right now.
Okay.
So possibly within 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's better than what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I also think the timing of the walk through to Cooley Street and the sidewalk opening up. It would be very helpful if people have a chance to experience that before we come to the end of the moratorium, because I think they'll understand the vision for the central village better if they
Yeah.
use that.
Have we been putting out any information on social media about, I know that there have been emails going out, but has there been anything on social media about where we are with the construction process? Like, for instance, with the crosswalks, I think it might be helpful to have like a little blurb that says,
Yeah, we included the update in our community newsletter that went out.
right,
And,
yeah, we should,
in the monthly update, but we can get out another one with the updated timeline. And the challenge is obviously working with our contractor, who then has subcontractors that do the
right,
repainting and that. So we're chasing 3 different entities, but it's the name of the game.
So when any of these things open, if you post it to Facebook on the village account, but tag me, then I'll see it and I'll share it.
Okay,
Okay, and I'll share it into the couple of, 10570 and a couple of groups where people are actively
Mhm.
looking.
mhm,
And I think just doing a little blurb, oh, this is now open, and showing a picture would be good.
Yeah.
yeah, I think sometimes not giving the comprehensive information, but just little pieces of information sometimes is useful,
Digestible,
right?
All right.
People's.
because our attention span is 7.5 seconds.
Mhm.
okay.
8 minutes ahead.
All right.
Wow. And you said you had a couple of other things.
Oh, yeah, so, okay, so, home rule village residency for, appointments. So the way that New York State Village law works is that there are, certain positions that the board appoints annually or every 2 years, village treasurer, assessor, that has a requirement, a residency requirement, where we don't have it here, where sometimes those positions, the folks have to live in the village.
Mhm,
More common is that they have to at least live in the county.
mhm,
In order to expand that, we actually have to propose home rule legislation to the state. And ask that that requirement be expanded. So what we would like to do is expand that to a New York State residency. So that in the future, we want to appoint different positions to folks that don't live in Westchester, because as we know, it's a tough place to afford, but many municipalities are going that way just to broaden the talent pool a bit.
mhm.
So it's been done before. It is a bit of a process, but one that we'd like to.
Mhm.
That's Last but not least, there is a resolution on this agenda that scheduled a public hearing for 2-hour parking north of the median. That has been that way forever. We're just cleaning up the code, actually in the code that doesn't reflect it. Forever, it's been 8-hour parking up there. And then eventually changed to 12. So we wanna just clean that up and reflect what we've been having out there.
Yeah.
All right.
How is it? Have you heard any feedback from the farmers market about how we've adjusted the parking?
I'm trying to think. So far, no, we have the one thing Steve Bates did say today was folks appreciate the free parking again. It's been very well attended, the market. So
Because they were
Seems
saying
like it, that's
before
good.
that it was not getting the
Correct,
attendance
yeah.
that they wanted,
But
but now they're on.
yeah,
track.
now he hasn't seen any of the date, any of the revenue,
Right.
vendor revenues, but just has been very well attended.
Okay.
I think they've hit a spurt of good weather too. the
Yeah.
weather
Mhm, yeah.
Saturday, So that's helped. Yeah, I think it'll be a boon to get parking on the other side of 70
Mhm.
back.
Mhm.
But so far so good.
Okay, good.
When does the angled parking on the other side of the street come into play?
That's when they'll mill and repave half of the roadway.
Mhm.
And then at that point, so once they do that, we're probably about, a week away from getting that angled parking back. So they've been pushing that for various reasons,
Right.
haven't pushed that work.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when I have people express some frustration with where we are now, I try to tell them that to be a little patient because some of it's in flux, but I do think it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well,
Hey, hey.
I feel like I'm saying, let's wait and see on repeat. to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What is it mostly
Absolutely.
with our natural, stuff?
All of it, but yeah, both Manville and the plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think especially Manville.
Should we have like a podium for me to hand the things out?
I can do something.
What's that?
Where do you want me to put it? Do you want me to set the microphones on?
Yeah. If you don't mind, I feel like that would be easier.
Eric,
Okay,
on the,
thanks.
one of these days this week, I reread all the old master plans again.
Yeah.
Because I'm,
all of them, it's amazing.
I just want to be able
and,
to not be behind the desk here, mostly.
The sort of things we're talking about these days. And I was amused to note that in 1960, there was a very strong recommendation to make Cooley a two-way street.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
So we're fulfilling
Yeah.
their dream 63 years later.
That's amazing.
That's how long it takes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had some other pretty bold ideas,
Little
actually.
disconcerting.
I wonder if those,
That will not happen.
let's say if those, a lot of those people that were then are still around.
Yeah.
Right?
They wanted to make, some of them wanted to make Bedford a one-way street
Wow.
going east, like,
Hmm.
and have Manville be two-way and Bedford be one-way up to the whole village.
Wow.
Because there was so much west to east traffic from Terrytown up Bedford, like
Oh,
through to
interesting.
Mount Kisco and beyond, which is exactly what's still happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
But yeah,
Hello,
they
everyone.
Uh,
interesting ideas.
yeah.
Excited to see you.
Maybe we'll set.
I have everything, yeah. I thought I would just wait until it's officially 8
Yeah.
o'clock.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, good.
I don't need to share anything for the presentation right now because we're just gonna have the video. Okay. All right, let me just get this in the right place. All right, so we're on Zoom as well via this thing here, which is called the Owl. And so when it's 8 o'clock, I will officially begin the meeting, and then we're looking forward to recognizing all you guys. Excited to see you. So we're actually still recording right now. Do I need to stop the recording and restart it? No, it's fine. You will edit it.
You just mentioned that we're down in the meeting.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Just a little dry stretch.
Okay.
I can always cut this.
Usually it's just Peter saying, oh, see, it's 4 minutes late. Let's start the meeting."
I would have gotten a lot more questions than that. More pushback.
That's true. You would have, yeah. You
I was
got
like, I'll get it. I'm
it
waiting for it.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. That would be. That would be, that was.
Okay. All right, so it's time to start our regular meeting. Welcome to the village board meeting. It's June 12th, 2023. Our mayor, Peter Scher, is on vacation this week. So I am trustee Nicole Asquith, and I will be taking over for the mayor this evening. Before we do the evening's announcements, I thought I would go straight into our recognition of our student ambassadors. So this is one of the highlights of our year, always, is when we get to honor our student ambassadors. As many of you know, the Pleasantville International Association is a nonprofit community organization that promotes international goodwill And the main way that it does that is through student exchanges. And we participate in that program and send some of our wonderful students from the Pleasantville High School abroad to different locations. So in a moment, I will be giving you your certificates. Normally, we would have some Pleasantville swag to give you as well. I'm told that we are currently out. So we'll have to make that up to you somehow. But we hope that you won't hold this against us and that you will still take pictures of yourself, preferably in a Pleasantville t-shirt in location, and send it back to you. We're definitely eager to hear all of your stories after your trip. So I'm sure that you're all really excited. To me, this is a very valuable endeavor that you are taking on. As somebody who has lived in other countries myself and known a lot of people who have traveled, I know that living in other countries is really the best way to learn more about the world at large, and also in a way to learn about where you live and grew up yourself, right? Because you will have an interesting point of comparison. But as you learn about new cultures, perhaps are speaking a different language, it will sort of broaden your horizon, I think, and give you interesting points of comparison. You know, things that you sort of take for granted, all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, they do it completely differently here. I thought there was only one way of doing this. It turns out not so much. So let me step up to the podium. I want to give you guys your certificates. Snake through here. So I just want to say that as representatives of Pleasantville, we're really proud to send you off into the world. We hope that you come back and tell us your stories. And as you come up, if you feel bold enough, you want to tell us a little bit about, you know, why you chose this particular program, or if there's something that you're especially looking forward to, we would love to hear from you. So Skylar Ogden is going to Spain. Skylar.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Right here is really beautiful.
That's a great town.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to?
I'm really excited for the homestay and to kind of just be immersed in the culture altogether. That's like why I was interested in it in the first place. It's kind of like better my Spanish. And the reason I'm staying with a host family kids so I can get that like full experience.
Oh, that's great. All right, well, come back and tell us all about it. Lucy Rothengard, you're going to France.
From Northern Paris and a city called Nancy.
I don't see.
Yeah, that's why I kind of better my language. Of course, like Skylar said, kind of similar reasons, just better my language skills and immersion something. Sure.
That's great. Well, I'm half French, so you'll have to, and your neighbor too, so you definitely have that. Yeah.
Wow,
I will. Thank you.
that's great.
You have a great time. Katie Budd, you're going to Germany. To Berlin. Oh, yes. Are you staying with a host family as well? Is there anything in particular that you're excited about?
Probably the history of the city.
Mhm.
There's a lot.
It's such an interesting city. I think you have a terrific time and come back and tell us all about it.
Thank you.
All right, Madeline Nanelli, you're going to Ghana.
Ooh, nice.
Tell us about this program and what you're looking forward to.
Basically, I'm gonna be working with kids mostly, and we're staying at Margona at the university.
Oh, wow. What kind of activities are you doing with the kids? Do you know, or you find out when you get there? Yeah. Oh, that's terrific. Well, take lots of pictures and let us know all about it when you come back. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, so you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you're not obliged.
Take care.
Thank you.
Congrats. Have a great time.
Lovely to see you guys. All right. So just some announcements before we do the resolutions. This feels sort of like the quiet before the storm or the quiet after the storm or something like that little pocket before summer sort of officially begins. So one thing I wanted to mention was this past weekend was the Walk into the Light, which is organized by the Break the Hold Foundation. I didn't attend, but my 14-year-old son attended. So I decided that it would be better to have him. Yeah, it'd be better for him to have the experience by himself. But I understand that there were hundreds of people there. It was very well attended. And we just want to say that we really appreciate the fact that this foundation exists, and that this is an event that they sponsor every year and that really involves a big segment of the community. I wanted to mention that the music festival is coming up on July 8th. So if you don't have tickets yet, definitely look into getting tickets. You can look up the website. What is it? The web music, Pleasantville Music.
Fest,
I want to say org.
Just Google Pleasantville Music Festival.
Okay, PleasantvilleMusicFestival.com, or as Paul says, do what normal people do and just Google it. And you can see our lineup for this year. What else? We recently had another event at the recycling center where we were accepting old used gas-powered lawn equipment so that people could participate in our rebate program. That was very popular. And so we're going to have another one coming up. The exact date hasn't been set yet, but we will publicize that as soon as it is. Does anybody else have an announcement that they would like to share? No?
I would just, in case you didn't catch the work session,
Yeah.
we spoke about the block party that's going to happen. Hopefully with everything that we're planning, we're looking at September 23rd. We're going to be closing up Washington Avenue and Wheeler Avenue again. The rain date's going to be September 30th. We're going to have a lot more information now in the next couple of weeks. If anyone is interested as a vendor to be a part of this, or if anyone's interested to be a part of this as a volunteer, we're going to be doing that as well for any residents. So we'll get this announcement out there to everyone, and we hope that we can get some more input from the community so we can make this event much bigger and much better for the whole community as a whole. Thank you.
Sounds like you're doing an amazing job planning
Thank you so
it.
much.
I'm excited. All right, so before we have some people here tonight, so before we start our resolutions, do we have any comment from the public? No comment from the public. Oh, I thought we had some people on the Zoom. Am I wrong about that? Okay. All right.
Might have been for the students.
Maybe it was before. Yeah, okay. All right, so no comment from the public. All right, so let's start with the resolutions then. All right. Paul, would you like to start with 208?
Yes, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby appoints Kristen, Pungello to the job title Deputy Village Treasurer, job title code 70 at salary of $85,000, set appointment subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 weeks or maximum of 52 weeks. The contract is attached to this resolution.
Well, welcome, Kristen. Did we mangle your last name? Tell us how to pronounce it. No.
Got it?
Oh, okay,
All right.
good. Okay, good.
I'll second. I'll second.
Second.
All right.
And we all vote?
Yes, let's have a vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, yay. This is
Treasurer Noreen. We have the former treasurer, Mary Schwartz, and then Kristen's son.
Shouldn't the last three treasurers be here?
What's that?
Shouldn't the last 3 or 4?
Exactly, yeah. Well, Mary really was the last three.
Kristen, what's your son's name?
Michael.
Michael. Hi, Michael. It's nice to have you here.
We're very excited for Kristen to come into this position, and always excited to see somebody grow professionally within the village, and she's really earned it. Really worked hard, proven herself, and we're very excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we really have a legacy in the Treasury Department of keeping things really, top notch. So that's great. I have to ask you, what does never mean? Oh, it's never quit. Is that what it is? You the t-shirt? Okay. All right, sorry. A little bit of a side note there, sorry. Okay. All right. And thanks for coming, Mary.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Yep. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Mikey. Bye, Mary.
Thank you.
Bye, take care.
Bye,
Thank you
Noreen.
so much.
Okay. Okay. All right, resolution 209, David.
Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby approves Christian Pangelo, Deputy Village Treasurer, as an authorized signatory for financial transactions for all depositories.
Seconder? Yeah, sorry. Let's have a vote.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye, sorry. Thank you, Michael.
We're Pavlovian, we need the.
I know, it's funny. Okay, resolution 210, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 22nd, 2023.
Second.
Any comments about the minutes?
Only to ask, do we have minutes for that special meeting from Wednesday or do they not?
No, we're
Yes.
we
Do we never do those? Yes, okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Resolution 211, Paul.
Okay. For this, am I doing each one or should I go to the totals?
You could just say it's stated in the record and then just read the totals.
Okay. Result of the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following budget amendments for the fiscal year of 2023 as listed below. You can see specific table here in the record for the amount of $62,767. As well, we have a budget transfer for the refuse fund, $10,667 from the refuse employee retirement to the refuse full-time. The appropriate fund balance, general fund, $57,642. That was from the account transferred to capital. Description, sidewalks for the fiscal year of 2023. There's an increase in revenue and expense, the capital fund in the amount of $57,642. The interfund transfer from the general fund, and this is for the sidewalks for the fiscal year.
Okay, I just realized I'm not sharing the screen.
And
Let's
just
see if I can
for
fix that.
context, we have now started our new fiscal year. These transfers are funding over budget lines, so we're moving money from lines that still have money in it essentially to
Right.
over budget lines. And then the $57,000 for curb and sidewalk. Typically, we would do curb and sidewalk later in the year. We did it at the tail end of the last fiscal year for the repaving program.
Mhm.
So there was some overlap, so we're funding that gap. There were also some change orders associated with it. The good news is, most of what we've spent on curb and sidewalk is refundable through New York State. So I think about 87% of that will be reimbursed in New York State.
Great.
Okay. All right, I think we need a seconder for that one.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so now it's being slow.
212.
212, David.
Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following budget amendments for fiscal year ending 2024 as listed below. $22,000 for account A 1440-400 engineering for traffic signal analysis.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that is the traffic study that's ongoing on Bedford Road. That's looking at the signal time
Right.
for our 3 village owned traffic signals.
All right,
Is
let's,
that still going on? They put them back on?
Yeah, so they put out counters and cameras, which is still going on. They haven't invoiced us yet, so that's why now it's a 2024 project.
Okay.
That'll hit the 2024 budget.
okay.
Did they take that down, the wires for like for example, the parade? Do they like?
Yeah, they did, and then they kept, I think they removed those cameras, they kept the pedestrian cameras up for a while, but I
Okay,
have to check, they may be at the tail end of the cameras.
okay.
Is that metal plate that causes noise out here all the time? Is that related to that or no?
No, that's ComEd's gas main replacement.
Oh, okay.
So those.
That must drive you guys
now-
crazy.
over where the gas service lines are for
Mhm.
each building. So this
Mhm.
one out here is at the one for Village Hall. They'll make that connection and then be able to put in.
Okay.
It seems like they stopped working. Is that true?
So right now they're scheduling individually with each property
Okay.
when they can go in, turn off the gas and go in and make that connection.
Hmm.
So this is where it starts dragging over.
Yeah. And when do we get the traffic numbers?
Probably, I think we have their schedule, them presenting the board in August, July or August.
Okay.
And the new signal for Manville and Washington Avenue is August, September.
Yeah, so the new signal out here for Manville Road is due to be delivered in.
Okay.
Yeah, and for this traffic analysis, signal analysis, and we're hoping to have something for the board by July.
Yeah.
Okay, resolution 213, David, I believe. Am I
Okay.
right about that? Oh, no, you did the last one. I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the abstract for payment of claims dated June 2023 for fiscal year 2020, should I say 4? Or is that 2023?
2023.
Okay. Covering check numbers 107384 to 107501. The general fund, $152,824.55. The special fund, $81.82. Water fund, $139,309.20. Capital fund, $101,623.17. Refuse fund, $1,081.35, for a total of $394,920.09. Payment of claims is attached.
A second,
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 214, back to you, Paul.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the abstract for payment of claims dated June 2023 for the fiscal year of 2024. Covering check numbers 107502 through 107615. General fund, $330,970.75. Special, $150. Water fund, $28,003.42. Refuse fund, $12,511.38. For a total of $371,635.55. Payment of claims attached to the resolution.
Any comments? No. All right, seconder,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 215, David.
These are a lot of, these are summer camp expenses on this 2024. Is
Yeah.
that what I'm seeing? Yeah.
And then,
Sorry to pause you.
No.
It looked like a big number, so I was trying to figure out what.
yeah, and then usually this first one is where we'll have annual subscriptions or memberships that we pay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. The library is a big one in there as well. Okay. All right, thanks.
Whereas negotiations have been ongoing between the bargaining team for the Village of Pleasantville Village and the bargaining team for the Police Benevolent Association of Pleasantville, New York, Inc., the PBA, or successor to the June 1st, 2019 to May 31st, 2022 agreement between the parties, and whereas those negotiations have resulted in a tentative agreement contained in a memorandum of agreement dated May 19th, 2023, which has been ratified by the membership of the PBA, and whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville has reviewed the terms of the memorandum of agreement and finds that settlement consistent with the terms contained therein is in the best interest of the village. Now therefore be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Pleasantville hereby approves and ratifies the terms of the aforementioned memorandum of agreement and hereby authorizes the mayor or the village administrator to execute a collective bargaining agreement consistent with the terms thereof.
Any questions or comments?
Second.
All right, that's a good comment. All in,
Congratulations. to the
Hold on one
PBA,
second.
and
So is it, when do they vote?
They voted.
So they go to
They
the,
voted.
yeah, and then we have.
I didn't hear that.
Yes, yes.
Are those results public?
Not the specific result that passed.
It's passed.
Yeah.
We don't get the.
But yeah,
Okay.
we signed the MOA.
Yep.
At that point, we commit to the date in which the board would pass it, and that's presuming that
Yep.
that area will pass it. So it's a 3-year contract. We think fair and reasonable terms.
Yes.
Are happy to see it set.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Eric.
All
Nice
right.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, no kidding. 216, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a 1-year agreement with Millennium Strategies in the amount of $39,600 for the purposes of grant writing services.
Hmm. Do you want to comment on this, Eric?
Sure.
Need a second.
Second.
Oh, sorry, second. Paul is on. He's got me covered.
Most of them on the committee. Right?
So we've engaged with a different grant writing firm this past fiscal year. Contract expired as of June 1. Had a pretty good year. They secured almost $100,000 or helped us secure $100,000 in grant funding. So we are going in a different direction. We've heard good things about this firm, has a great track record, good work locally as well. So we're looking to engage with strategies as soon as possible.
I think it's great. I think it's a good time because there's so many grants out there at the moment to have a really good grant writer. Yeah. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 2017, Paul.
Yep.
Can't be the seconder this time.
217, okay, resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign an agreement with Sundance for the purposes of backstage food services for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival. Agreement for the food service attached to the resolution.
Second.
All right, food for the music festival people. That's great. All in favor?
I
Aye.
thought you were gonna say food for thought. Okay.
All right, 218.
Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign an agreement with Party Line Rentals for the purpose of the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festivals.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 219, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby appoints Patsy Leone, Police Sergeant, permanent status effective June 21st, 2023.
Second.
Congratulations to Sergeant Leone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 220, Paul.
Resolved the Board of Trustees hereby authorize the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Terrace Valone for 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 221.
Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Penny Lick Ice Cream Company for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second.
This is a good advertisement for the music festival. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're at 2022. David? No, did I lose track? Oh, Michael,
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just looking at the penny like thing, so
Good ice cream.
out of Hastings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Future Flutes Funeral Home for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Back to Paul, 223.
Result that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Scarborough and Tweed for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Giving us a preview. All right, 224, David.
Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Pam Nation for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
What's Pam Nation?
The music promoter.
Oh, okay. All right, seconder.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 225.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Best Wine Purveyors for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, back to Paul, 226.
Result, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the appointment of Dana Morgera to the Village of Pleasantville Recreation Department as a full-time recreation supervisor, job code 265 CSEA, wage schedule B, step 5, at an annual salary of $73,768 with a start date of July 17, 2023. Said appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 12 weeks to a maximum of 52 weeks. Attaches the hiring memo to this resolution.
All right. Seconder,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, David, 227.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign the agreement with planning advisory services for the period June 1st, 2023 to May 31st, 2024 with Hardesty in Hanover.
Second.
What's this
There
one?
are planning consultants for the planning commission. So they're in-house, so they attend all the planning commission meetings, review drawings.
Okay,
Long-standing relationship.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 228, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby schedule a public hearing to consider introductory local law 5 of 2023 to amend chapter 173, section 75 of the code of the Village of Pleasantville concerning parking on the east side of Memorial Plaza for June 26, 2023 at 8 p.m. on the second floor of Village Hall, 80 Wheeler Avenue, Pleasantville, New York, 1057.
Second.
So this is what you mentioned earlier. The-
North Median, historically, it's always been signed for 2-hour parking. In the village code, it had reflected 8-hour parking for some point in time. That was amended to 12-hour during COVID, but that's, they keep it at 2-hour given its location and utilization.
Short-term
So it's the
parking.
west side of the North Median.
Yes.
Okay.
On the east side.
Nice.
So the way that it's written in the code though is, what's it, it's a point, 110 feet north of the gazebo on the east side of Memorial Plaza.
Tomato, tomato.
Did we vote on that one?
No.
No.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Okay,
wanted to be sure what I was voting on.
yeah, well,
Changing all the parking everywhere.
due diligence for sure. All right, 229, you, Paul.
The result of the Board of Trustees hereby institutes no parking every Saturday from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. from June 12, 2023 to April 1st, 2024 in the Memorial Plaza roadway from the gazebo in the southerly direction, covering 2 additional median spaces. Further resolved that the lot coordination map is officially adopted and the police department is hereby authorized to post no parking signs and to tow all vehicles in violation of this temporary parking restriction. The lot map is in the description of this resolution.
Second, this is the extra 2 spaces they added, that we asked for?
So this is south of the gazebo.
Right.
On the east side of.
This vendor trucks.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, they back up the vendor trucks, right? And so it's easier for the farmers to sell.
All right, I think we need a seconder.
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 230, David.
All the Board of Trustees hereby approves the updated village master fee schedule attached.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Okay.
Fiscal year to reflect updated water rates.
231, Michael.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator and village attorney to execute the grant disbursement agreement with DAS&Y in the amount of $275,000 for the renovation of Village Park Playground, including the purchase and installation of equipment.
Do you want to say anything about that?
Second.
Thanks.
So this was a grant secured by former Assembly member Tom Avenatti to help fund the replacement of our playground structures. Mike Newman will be coming to an upcoming work session to start talking about the planning board on that.
Oh, that's exciting. All right.
And this is essentially authorizing the village to further the contracts.
Do I
Okay.
remember correctly that there was a special needs kind of direction that this was going, or is that, am I confusing, inflating
No,
multiple things?
there's no requirement, but that is, the spirit in which
Right,
the assembly.
because that was his committee on the assembly that he headed up, right? Yes, yes,
Interesting.
great.
Alright.
Welcome.
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
decent one.
Yeah. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank
Two,
you, Tom Eminenti.
yeah, absolutely. 231, Paul. I mean,
We're at
232.
right? Result of the board of trustees hereby waives the third day requirement for a liquor license for the Pleasantville Diner at 10 Memorial Plaza. Description of the third day notice application attached to the resolution.
The second, did they not have a
Don't they have
liquor
a liquor
license?
license?
They've never had one and they're getting one now?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be a speakeasy and dining?
It's potentially changing ownership too, right?
I believe, I don't know
That's all
for certain,
yeah, that's
um,
unverified.
but yes, I don't know that for certain, but, the 30-day requirement, obviously, we don't issue liquor license.
Right.
There's a 30-day public comment, municipalities are empowered to waive that.
Did they have a beer and wine license? Did they have, I feel like they had something. I don't know.
I don't know.
And it's a license,
This is a li- this is a-
it's a license.
Yeah, yes.
Withdrawn.
I withdraw my comment.
Does a
I
license,
failed to recall.
does a license attach to a specific business? Or does it attach to, like, if it changed ownership but not names, or if it changed ownership and names, under what conditions does it survive?
It's attached to the LLC.
Okay,
Or the business entity.
right,
It can be transferred.
to a new business entity?
Yes.
Okay, okay. That, I guess
Without
that makes sense then.
Hmm. Okay,
Good to know.
all right. Do we know how we want to vote?
I second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 233.
Me.
Thank
Resolve the
you.
Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Party Line Tent Rentals for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What was the other one that we did?
So that's for
Okay,
the
that-
actual tent rentals. But they have, they lowered their pricing because they're willing to enter into a sponsorship marketing agreement.
God.
And that agreement references this.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
All right, 234, Michael.
We have to vote on that.
No, I think we voted.
Okay,
Two, I'm pretty sure.
I think you did.
all right. Just trying to catch up here,
What
figure out what we're.
we're up to.
What we're. I know, FUV.
It's the liquor license.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a promotional agreement with WFUV for the purposes of promoting the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Seconder,
Second,
all in
And you
favor?
should say that WFUV is the radio station of Fordham University, the Jesuit University of New
Yes.
York.
Okay.
Music discovery starts here.
Yeah.
that's good. Oh, that's a good one. They should give you, are you getting a plug for this?
They won't even give me a sweatshirt. I know, they're very strict. You have to donate.
For the ethics committees. there's
Now,
no
that says
part-
something like, I wanted another Inquisition, and all I got is a stupid.
Oh,
song.
yeah. I've been in the studio before, though. Very nice.
Oh, that's cool. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 235, David, right?
Oh, me.
Oh, no, you, oh my God, I can't.
No problem. 235. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Genesco Sport Enterprises for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, let's move it along, people. 236, David.
Resolve the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign a sponsorship agreement with Ring Boost for the 2023 Pleasantville Music Festival.
Second,
All right, what's Ring Boost?
That's, custom phone numbers.
Oh, okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, 237.
Ooh, winner.
Oh, yeah.
237, whereas the property located at 468 Bedford Road, Pleasantville, New York, property requires repair and replacement of the existing roof, And whereas section 123-5.c of the Village of Pleasantville Village Code includes the following restriction on making unreasonably loud noise, both to operate or use any tools, pile driver, pneumatic hammer, tractor, derrick, electrical hoist, gasoline or electric powered saw, or other mechanical apparatus or equipment, the use of which is attended by noise between the hours of 7 p.m. and 8 a.m. the following day or any time on Sunday, end quote. And whereas there is asbestos in the attic and roof on the property, which must be abated before the repair and replacement of the existing roof can proceed. And whereas given the location of the property, in order to protect public health and safety, the owner of the property has requested to be allowed to perform the asbestos abatement removal between the hours of 7 p.m. and 8 a.m. between the dates of July 3rd, 2023 and July 18th, 2023, in order to perform the asbestos abatement safely without danger to the public. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby finds that in order to protect the health and safety, the owner of the property and its contractors shall be permitted to proceed with the asbestos abatement between the hours of 7 p.m. and 8 a.m. between the dates of July 3rd, 2023 and July 18th, 2023, notwithstanding the restriction included in section 123-5.c. Be it further resolved that no work should be permitted at any time on Sunday, either in the AM or PM hours. Be it further resolved that the exemption from section 123-5.c shall be limited to work needed for the removal of asbestos from the property. Any work relating to the repair and replacement of the roof shall occur within the hours set forth in section 123-5.c.
Seconder.
Second.
I assume that the neighbors have been
This is John
alerted
Jock,
to the
right?
This is
situation.
John Jock, yeah, so,
Oh, okay.
So is there any news about this, or is this just preparing the property for any potential future changes?
yeah, that, we don't know what their intention is, we're just aware that they're replacing the roof, and obviously they're concerned about doing that during the heat day or,
Mhm.
during business hours, so. The building inspector, who's chief, all agreed to use to be a reasonable request.
Right.
We spoke to the village attorney, this at the here, but in terms of the next steps for the property or the future, you know.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, final resolution, Paul.
Result of the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the closure of 3 parking spaces in front of 54 Washington Avenue for an event at Boundless Nutrition on Saturday, June 24th, 2023.
Seconder,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, lots
there
of
a
things
time?
happening in the village.
Is there a time for that?
Yes.
They did this last year.
It's like the morning or, right?
Yeah, it was, mid-morning, early.
So like 1 or something like that.
This was a late request, and of course, given the date, we don't have a meeting.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention, it seems like the pool has gotten off to a really good start from, yeah,
Right.
right.
Agreed.
I was there over Memorial Day weekend. Lots of action.
So we caught up on, I know that a month or 2 ago, we were a little behind on memberships. How are we doing now?
Yeah, we're doing great with memberships. The other struggle was cyclists.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
So we're comparable with last year or better or worse?
I have to get an update, but we were on par with last year.
Great.
Yeah, I'll get an update.
Good.
Yeah.
The event is from 10 to 5.
Any further business before we close the meeting?
Now, can we argue about something for an hour? to keep us on call?
There's nobody to argue with except each other. It feels a bit boring.
Did, Peter and Tom Rooney go on vacation together?
They're arguing somewhere else.
Both of their absence, it feels like, I don't know. That seems like the most likely explanation.
Feel a little unloved.
Yeah, it feels like the most likely explanation.
Yeah. All right. Do we need a motion to close the meeting? Yeah. Yes, may we have a motion to close the meeting,
I
please?
so moved.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, our meeting is officially adjourned. Good night. We will see you again soon. Oh, we forgot to mention when the next meeting is.
Next meeting is June 26th.
6th. Okay, so our next meeting will be June 26th at 7 PM. We will see you then.
I will not be present for that. one.
Neither will I.